Coming up live on LiveWire, we've got a great show for you today. It's films and flowers and films. We're going to talk to a couple of filmmakers, really interesting guys who have come up with the films about Sacramento, a wonderful film that's up for an award. And then we're going to talk to Katie Koch from Soilborn Farm. She's a teacher there. We're going to talk about les fleurs, flowers, right after this important message. So she's called the Flower Mama, and her name is Katie Koch, and she works at Soilborn Farms, but she herself is a farmer. Welcome.
Thank you. So nice to be here.
So, you know, I really kind of got this idea when you were coming down the hall and you were wearing those can't bust. I was thinking, well, maybe she's a farmer.
I am indeed a farmer.
So you're walking down the street one day and said, I think I'll be a farmer.
It didn't quite happen like that. I'm from Wisconsin originally, and I ended up in California farming for this organic veggie grower out in Winters. Just through farming with him and becoming in love with it, I was harvesting vegetables one day, and I just had this aha moment. I could grow flowers. Like, I could farm. I could do this.
Yeah.
And I could maybe even make money doing it.
And
so I tried, and here I am.
Good.
Yeah.
This is good. And you tell me about this. You're doing a class for people.
Yeah.
And it's called Garden to Vase. I like that. You know,
Thanks.
Farm to
fork.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Garden to Vase. Growing cut flowers.
Yeah.
And so people can grow their own flowers and cut them, or they can buy them from you, right? You do sell flowers.
I do sell flowers.
Okay, there you go. But you sell them to regular folks, or is it like to supermarket chains?
Well, my flowers have all sorts of destinations. I do
see.
a weekly bouquet share, so people who live in Davis or Winters can pick up weekly bouquets of flowers, kind of the same thing as a CSA.
I see.
And then I sell to the Davis Food Co-op. I do weddings. I do
Look,
events.
what that is? What is that? One of your?
Yeah, that's an arrangement I made for an event.
Wow,
And that's my son, Naylan, and I.
And that's your old truck there?
No.
That's just for looks.
That's for looks on the farm where I'm at.
Okay,
Yeah.
They have to have old trucks sitting out in halfway into the farm somewhere.
That
one has blue on it. I like that. Yeah. So there's a really interesting job that people they don't necessarily think about. Were you a city person and then you became a country person?
I don't know if I would classify myself as a city person
Right, I wouldn't
per
classify
se.
Wisconsin as a place.
Well, I grew up in Milwaukee.
Oh, Milwaukee, a wonderful town.
It's great. There's a lot of culture.
Sure, there is. I grew up in Chicago, and we had relatives in Milwaukee, so I can say yes.
relate.
You're right.
Yes, exactly.
So, it's very interesting development of a business and how to sell flowers. I mean, you pretty much wholesale them for your regular money, right? But you do sell flowers. You have a flower stand in the road.
I've tried selling through a flower stand because where I farm, I'm with a community of other growers as well, growers who do fruit, vegetables, they raise meat. So we do have a farm stand, but my flowers haven't sold very well there. I think because it's also really hot, flowers need to be chilled. They need, exactly.
So tell me, I'm very interested in the class.
Yeah,
it's about cutting
cut
flowers and making them last in the vase, and obviously it's about designing the flowers and the way they sit in the vase. I'm a city boy, so I take the flowers and I open up the paper and the plastic and put it in the vase and go, pa.
And done.
Done.
Right. Well, this class is for people who are really interested in getting to grow cut flowers, whether they're a gardener or whether they have a small farm or whether they're veggie farmer that want to add flowers to their operation.
Okay, and that class is going to happen on?
That's on May 1st, Tuesday.
Mayflowers, yes, I get that.
Mayflowers. So
5:30 to 8:30 p.m.
Yeah, a full 3 hours. We're going to cover a lot. I'm really passionate about no-till agriculture, so we're going to talk about how to no-till farm flowers, and we're going to talk about post-care, harvest treatment, how to properly cut the flowers and grow them. We're going to talk about different types, different varieties that do well in our climate.
Yes, good. This is all good. So you're going to talk about those things. You're going to tell people what flowers they might get for their neighborhood, for their area.
Sure, exactly.
Well, that's good.
What flowers to focus on.
And it's a nominal price for this at Soil-Born Farms. People can get online at www.soilborn.org.
Exactly.
And find out about your class.
Find out about my class.
This is great. So, interesting thing about it is that farmers are not necessarily teachers. Farmers really do get into farming. But to have that double talent, did you teach before?
I haven't taught before. Well, I've been teaching since I've been farming because I really have this desire to get my message out there about no-till farming. It's really important to me, and how to grow flowers or anything for that matter.
No-till farming? What does that mean?
It means you don't till the soil. You don't stir it up, which is completely different than the way that we've been doing farming for a number of years.
So the big pharma. I don't mean that pharma. I mean farmers.
Yes.
They till and they put it in, go deep, get that water from the aquifer.
It's pretty detrimental though, and so
sure.
I've been no-till farming on my plot for 3 years now, and seeing amazing yields and results, and like to teach people how to do the same.
This is good. And this is a part of a whole series that Soil-Born Farms produces. That's what kind of what they do, is they have, like, here's a day on the farm, classes, workshops, tours, and this is kind of like that's what they live for.
Yeah, Soil-Born's pretty amazing. They're a nonprofit organization in Rancho Cordova along the American River Parkway, and they have a number of education classes, all centered around growing your own groceries or
Worm
cooking
composting
classes.
workshop. I want that. I want to do that. Yeah.
You can.
Yeah, I can. Permaculture.
Anyone can take classes there.
Sure. And here's your thing. There you go. How to grow beautiful perennials.
And annuals.
And annuals.
Yeah.
Cool.
I include perennials and annuals because we get a lot of home gardeners that take these classes, and so I don't just cater to people who are planning on farming.
Planning on farming, right? Okay. But there are some people who are motivated. They could probably do anything. So, at any rate, it's a fascinating life doing what you do. I mean, I like flowers in my house, so every couple of weeks or something like that.
Good.
It's taking the farms out. So it's Intro to Urban Backyard Beekeeping. Oh, that's right. They have that coming up too. Soil-Born Farms, May 26th from 1 to 4 p.m. So you can learn about flowers and bees. They go together, don't they?
They do.
They do.
They need each other.
Thank you, Katie Couch. Thanks so much for coming to talk to me. Appreciate this. And
Thanks
I wish
for
you
having
well on your class with Soil-Born Farms, which you could actually Google those words and the website will come up.
It'll come up.
Good luck.
Thank
you
so
so much.
much.
We got to take a short pause for the cause right now, and we'll be back after a few minutes with some very interesting information coming your way, and we'll be back talking with some filmmakers.
So there you are. It's flu season, and you're over 65 like me.
You might be forgetting something serious. Your annual flu shot. The flu can be life-threatening, especially if you have chronic conditions like diabetes and heart disease, which can worsen with the flu.
The immune system weakens with age.
Ask about a flu vaccine option made specifically for us. Visit ncoa.org/flu to learn more and talk to your doctor about vaccine options for people 65 and older.
You know, Sacramento used to be a place where it would be the last place that they took films from Hollywood to show them, make final cuts and things like that before they sent them out. But it's changed completely, and there's a lot of filmmaking happening here. A place called Sacramento is one of the programs that have come up, but there are 5 to 6 international film festivals here. And one of them is the Sacramento International Film Festival. And I have a chap here who is up for an Outstanding Regional Filmmaker Award.
That's
and
right.
They're going to show the premiere one of your films, right? Dan Heflin.
That's correct.
See, that's where we're supposed to say your name.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so it's going to be premiering Phantoms of the Holbrook. We'll be premiering April 28th, 7 p.m. on the Delta King.
On the Delta King. Okay, it's part of the festival, but they go to the website and get their tickets to the festival for that night. And what's the draw of Phantom of the Holbrook?
Well, I think it reaches a lot of different audiences. So Mark Lyon was the one who approached me about this film, and he was somebody who was in one of my previous films titled Natalai. And so I was on a guided tour of Grass Valley, and it was a ghost tour. And he was a fantastic storyteller. He had all these little anecdotes of the different ghosts that were throughout the city. Yeah. And we arrived at the Holbrook Hotel. And at the end, I approached him. I said, "You'd be the perfect person for me to cast in my film that I'm currently working on." And that was Natalai, to be able to tell the story of this spirit of the water. And so then he agreed, and we formed a relationship. We did that film, and then we kept in touch. And then about a year later, he said, "You know, I have this fantastic screenplay that I like to shoot, and it's about the ghosts who haunt the Holbrook Hotel." Yeah. And so now, here we are. But that started shooting in 2009 for that film. 2010, we talked about it. 2011, we started doing some initial shots of the Holbrook, and now it's 2018.
Can we watch a little clip of it?
I'd be thrilled.
I'd be thrilled too.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at this film. It's called Phantoms of Holbrook. Did Mark write it?
Yes, he did.
Mr. Martin?
Mr. Martin?
Mr. Martin?
Martin?
Is everything okay?
Mr. Martin?
Mr. Martin?
Is everything okay?
Mr. Martin?
Mr. Martin?
Mr. Martin?
Is everything okay?
Mr. Martin?
Mr. Martin?
Phantoms of the Holbrook.
Pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, I think suspenseful,
Yeah.
a little scary. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's it's about a real place that has got stories associated with it that have ghosts.
Yeah, ghost encounters, experiences. Now, Mark Lyon was the curator of all these stories. And as we like to tout, the Holbrook has the most ghost in all America per square footage.
Wow.
And so it might not be the most famous hotel for ghost experiences, but the amount of ghosts, there's a cowboy, there's a top hat man, there's children, as you saw in that trailer, who haunt the upstairs corridors. There's a Victorian lady. So for the amount of encounters and experiences, and what really surprised me about this film was that, or the story, was that all the people who I interact with it in the hotel, because I was coming, I'm a filmmaker, and Mark was interested in these stories, but my approach is that I just want to tell a good story. I just want to present the film. I didn't know too much about the history of these particular hauntings in the Holbrook, but then I started talking to the people there, and they start telling me these interesting things. Like, they start retelling these stories that Mark had written already, and you know, it kind of makes you a believer in
Yeah,
a sense.
sure,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so it was just great experience, fantastic.
I love it. Okay, and the film is finished. And how long did it take you to make the film, off and on?
So it was 20 days, 20 production days.
Uh-huh.
So in January 2015, we went to the hotel, and it was on 20 different days over the course of about 6 months. We went to the hotel, and we just set things up and shot all these little stories and vignettes of it. And then it took about 2 years later of editing, and then I composed a score for it, and it has all live musicians, local talent.
Yeah.
So string quartet, flute, oboe, but they're all local, and it was important
So
for
all
me
that
this time.
anonymous, all that ominous music. I
Right.
heard.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the piano, the strings, and everything is all live musicians. And so that took a year. So I mean, we shot in 2015, editing over the course of 2017, and then a year to record the score.
That's great.
so-
And I think, I wanted to say, because I have this theory that's building in my head about creative artists like yourself and how they build upon individual projects that move ahead or stop for one reason or another. But then they move ahead, and they move ahead in jerks and fits until they're done, until you say they're done.
Right. And that's a little bit of the challenge. I mean, you're absolutely right saying it's the creative process, because with this film was a little different because there's a collaborator.
Yes.
There's Mark Lyon.
The writer.
The writer. And I like to say that we were, yeah.
Yeah, and this is what the little girl in the thing. Oh,
That's Autumn. That's Marion, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey's a fine
Yeah,
actress.
Jeffrey. Yeah. And so,
Ooh.
yeah, Elizabeth Syracuse. And Elizabeth Syracuse, she was the one who provided a lot of the costume and wardrobe. And so we were really lucky because Mark had because he's in theater work,
Yeah.
he had this Rolodex of other
Connections
Yeah,
to-
connections to theater people and to actors. And so he had some great, fantastic wardrobe, acquisition and designers, and then obviously actors who are involved with it. And I don't want to forget to mention Tim Myers, who was also. So we're like this filmmaking troupe. He was the assistant director, Tim Myers, on this film. And so we were just like these three friends showing up at a hotel to make a movie.
Wow.
And that'd be my best advice to also other
So
filmmakers.
people got to roll on down and they can get a ticket online, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And so yeah, through the CaliforniaFilm.net.
Yeah, CaliforniaFilm.net.
It's through the California Film Foundation, and the festival director is Marty Anaya. Fantastic organization. And so, yeah, that's where they can find tickets.
Thank you, Dan Heflin, for talking to me about this. And Phantom of the Holbrook, and that's coming right up, right? What's the date?
April 28th, 7 p.m. on the Delta King, Old
Right.
Town Sacramento.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, well, I wish you well. Okay, we got to take another short pause for the cause, and we'll be back after these important messages.
So there you are. It's flu season, and you're over 65 like me.
You might be forgetting something serious. Your annual flu shot.
The flu can be life-threatening, especially if you have chronic conditions like diabetes and heart disease, which can worsen with the flu.
The immune system weakens with age. Ask about a flu vaccine option made specifically for us.
Visit ncoa.org/flu to learn more and talk to your doctor about vaccine options for people 65 and older.
Oh, I love television. Don't you love television? Thank you so much. Hi, folks. How are you?
Doing well.
So, you were walking down the road one day and you said, I don't have a mic. But we'll hear you if you speak up.
Okay,
Yep,
good,
good.
good.
Good. Just lean in towards me here.
All right, that
Yeah,
works.
Okay. So you decided to make a film, or did the Sacramento City of Trees people, which is otherwise known as SMUD, approach you to do this film?
No, my good friend Bruce Handley approached me to do this film. It's about 2 years ago. We worked together on 2015 place called Sacramento Film Festival on a movie. And then Bruce wanted to do something for the Tree Foundation, and he asked me for help during the first interview, and then he asked me to direct it at that point, and 2 years later we're here.
Wow, yeah, 2 years later. I don't know if you heard the previous interview, but that was a 3-year project.
Yeah.
That's right. And Gene, right?
Joni.
Joni, you're the production coordinator. That's a hell of a job, if I must say so. But Made in the Shade, how was it? How was it working?
It was interesting to have met a lot of celebrities of Sacramento. I probably never would have. Some politicians and some real tree heroes along the way.
So tell me, then, if that is the case, what other things were part of that production that you really enjoyed doing?
Well, my first allegiance is to the urban forest, so bringing that word out to others that can help make that community larger is probably my most favorite.
So it's a fascinating thing. So Phil, you before the show, you talked about what the film means.
Yes,
and this
sir.
is for people. We're going to have a free showing of this film.
Yes, sir.
Tell me.
It's a free show. It's being sponsored by the Sacramento Tree Foundation and SMUD, our local publicly owned utility. And it's really their story as much as it's the story about Sacramento's urban forest. We do have the largest urban forest in the country, the third largest in the world. Something we all should be really proud of as Sacramentans. And this story is the history of how that happened. Unlike other cities, who moved in where there were already trees, we were the city of the plains, so there weren't a lot of trees here.
Right,
And
two rivers.
Two rivers, but not a lot of trees, except near the rivers. But now we have well over 5 million trees, and let's see, the Tree Foundation planted 1 million between 1990 and 2001 in a partnership
That's
with
just
SMUD.
unheard of. It's amazing. I didn't know that. I remember the 90s because I live in the downtown area in the middle of that forest, and I'm pleased that it's there, and I'm pleased that I have good trees in my backyard and in the front, and I take good care of them. I think I help take good care of them, and so this is called Made in the Shade, and that is. What does it do? I mean, what does this urban forest do for us?
This urban forest cools us, literally. And then the basic answer I can give you is that it cools us. It lowers the ambient air temperature. A good shade tree in the right place near your home can lower your temperature, your bill from 40 to 60% during the summertime, just by you not having to run the air conditioner so much.
I hear that.
Yeah, so we wouldn't be able to live in Sacramento without trees, especially 100 years ago when we were all wearing wool clothes and buttoned up to here and there was no air conditioning.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the shade, it really would have been unbearable.
So you brought a little clip of the film?
Yes, I did, sir.
Ooh, okay. Could we have a look at it?
I'd love to show
All right,
it.
let's have a look at it. It's called Made in the Shade, and the director, Phil DeSaro. Here it is.
I would claim that we're probably the most studied urban forest in the world.
There is a whole history of trees in Sacramento.
In an era with no air conditioning, the only way to keep cool is by jumping in the river or by finding some shade.
Well, it was 1956 when the highest demand for energy in Sacramento switched from wintertime heating to summertime cooling because of mass number of air conditioners that have been churned on since post-World War II.
People have forgotten PG&E was trying to take over SMUD when I got here.
There was a people's initiative to put on the ballot to close, for the first time ever, a nuclear power plant in the United States that was up and operating.
The article said that Rancho Seco was a twin to 3 Mile Island, a Babcock and Wilcox plant. And when I read that, the hair stood up on the back of my neck.
There has been an accident at 3 Mile Island.
Everybody thinks the people voted against nuclear power.
How is SMUD going to make up for the power lost?
So the idea of a phantom power plant is really, I think, the idea behind Sac Shade.
I think that I will never see an air conditioner as lovely as a tree.
Trees reduce the air conditioning load.
The conservation power plant.
A conservation power plant
We want to be a utility that lowers the demand for energy.
More than 25 years and 500,000 energy-saving trees later. That's right, yeah.
You are on the SMUD board and past legislators on our city council.
It was an all-star cast. We got a lot of people that came out and helped us out with this.
Sure, yeah. Well, they're responsible. I mean, if somebody made the decision to say, and we're going to put up how many million? A million trees?
1 million trees.
1 million trees by a certain time. I remember saying that, 1 million trees. That's not going to happen.
It happened.
It happened. That's
a
amazing.
lot of volunteers.
Yeah, all volunteers. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm very pleased that that happened, and I think it's a real testament to a strong city.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. So you do films?
Yes, sir.
And obviously you do.
I do now.
You do now.
I originally came from Tree Foundation.
So, Made in the Shade's going to play Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, the 25th, at the Crest Theater. It starts at 6 p.m. You want to reserve your seats now. There's a link on the Facebook page. We're almost full. So,
oh, you're almost full, so you better jump for Made in the Shade.
Yeah, if you want to see it, when you should see it at the premiere, go ahead and reserve your seats now.
It's www.facebook.com/Made in the Shade, the movie.
That's it.
Great. So you have a group of people that wrote all and got all that information backed up? Before you made the movie, you're the director.
Yes, sir.
You know, so how did that? Was there like a writer on set saying, "Oh, that's wrong"?
No. Originally, Bruce wrote a 10-minute script that was going to be a PCS movie.
Oh, I see.
And that we didn't make that a PCS movie. We ended up making a lot longer.
Good.
Film. It turned out to be a much bigger story than really. It was worth more than 10 minutes.
Sure.
You know, I mean, like the trailer says. We're the only city in the whole country that ever closed down an active nuclear power reactor by the vote of the people. That would not have been possible if we had a privately owned utility. It was only possible because we have a publicly owned utility like SMUD.
I hear that, and I hear it. And I hope you all hear it, folks. Gosh, thanks, Phil DeSaro. Thanks for that. And thank you, my dear. I got to get your name right. Joni Ramirez. I was going to call you Jean again for some reason. I don't know, Joni.
Only name.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate you both coming to talk to me about this Made in the Shade.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
All right, our city is Made in the Shade. We do have some other issues we have to deal with, but we'll be back talking with you next Wednesday at 5. Live at 5 with LiveWire.